We begin this hour with the latest in Iraq. At least 13 people are dead after a mosque was attacked near the Iraqi city of Kirkuk by what appears to be a U.S.-led coalition strike. Meanwhile, Turkey has entered the battle against ISIS in Mosul, a move which has angered the Iraqi government. RT correspondent Alex Mihailovich has been covering this developing story and joins us now with an update as we enter the week 2 battle for the city of Mosul. Alex, let's start with that airstrike today. Killed over a dozen civilians in Iraq. A U.S. military spokesperson said the coalition had, quote, definitely determined that it did not conduct the airstrike. However, some remain suspicious of this claim. What's the latest?
So this airstrike happened on Friday, about 20 miles outside of Kirkuk, and we know that last week Kirkuk became another front. ISIS changed gears with some of their troops, went there basically to detract the fighters, the coalition fighters from Mosul to Kirkuk, which is about 100 or so miles away. So what happened here, though, 80 attacks, Kirkuk's going full force. Something happened. Somebody dropped a bomb on a mosque. It happened to hit the women's side of the mosque. 13 at least people died, about 50 injured. We know a lot of women and children were killed or injured in this attack itself. So the coalition saying, or the U.S. side of the coalition saying, hey, we know for sure it wasn't us. Meanwhile, if you speak to the Iraqis who are in the same coalition, they're saying, well, it's not definitive yet. And then you have all these human rights agencies that are saying that we need an investigation here. Don't forget, there's also other forces in the air. We know that the French are there, the British are there. The people aren't talking much about that. There are planes flying over, as well as drones. There are British drones in the area and American drones. So a lot of action in the air, and the civilians on the ground are saying it was a massive blast, the type that comes when a bomb falls out of the sky. So all indicators are pointing that something big happened here. Who did it? You can't exactly say, but that is where the coalition is in action. Russian intelligence is saying that they saw that 2 planes were up in the air. There was a line of people in that region that they might have been mistaken as ISIS, but to hit a mosque, well, that's a completely different story. And the latest is we even know that the Turks have some of their fighters in that arena. So who knows who it could have been who launched that rocket or whatever, the bomb that hit that mosque.
Speaking of Turkey, that country is now saying that it's working with the U.S. coalition in the battle to take Mosul from ISIS. This is causing a lot of tension with the Iraqi government, which maintains Turkey has violated its sovereignty. How is this playing out?
Very pushy from Turkey. We know that Ankara has been pushing to get into this arena for a while. They had people supposedly training the coalition fighters for the Battle of Mosul. We hear as many as 2,000 Turkish troops are on the ground. That's a lot of people, and especially when the country that we're talking about, Iraq, doesn't want you there. Baghdad has said time and time again, you are not invited. Please do not come into our country. But that seems to be going on deaf ears. Now, historically speaking, there is a little bit of a backstory here. After the First World War, you probably remember the Ottoman Empire. The Turks were pretty much everywhere in that region. Mosul was a part of this Ottoman Empire, and the Turks hold it very dear to their hearts. But when things got carved up, the Brits said, who had Iraq at the time, you know what, there's more Arabs here than there are Turks. This belongs to an Arab country, not Turkish. And it seems that Erdogan might have a very different story in his head. They seem very keen on Mosul. They've been shelling alongside the Peshmerga, the Kurds, who they've been bombing at the same time. Now they're helping them out to get into Mosul. The governor of the Mosul province, he's actually been fired for letting the Turks in by the government in Baghdad. So, this is very controversial. At the same time, Turkey is in NATO. They're a part of this coalition, if that they want to be a part of this coalition. They've been in action officially since Sunday, which is only about 24 hours. But, this is just, it's not right. If the host nation where the war is going on wants you out, why would you do this unless you had some other type of sinister ideas someplace down the road?
Well, it's certainly complicating things on the ground there. Alex, while so many are calling for the end of ISIS in Mosul, it seems that others, including Turkey, have some sort of other plan. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's the strangest thing. Mosul's being attacked from all sides except the west side. And if you want to leave Mosul, head west, my friend. You can reach Syria. That includes ISIS. And now this is something that the Turks are said okay, but it goes as far as The Economist. The Economist magazine, which so many people believe is this magazine that you could trust and what it's telling you. This is what they wrote. Like, this is kind of mind-blowing. Though it might seem perverse, so they even know it's perverse, the wisest thing would be would-be liberators could do would be to leave IS a safe way out of the city eastward. So I made a mistake, it was eastward, not westward, to Syria, to avoid a long fight to death. The prize of taking Mosul as quickly and bloodlessly as possible is worth the cost of allowing an isolated Islamic statelet to survive in eastern Syria a bit longer. So that would be westward, wouldn't it? Anyway, so maybe I'm wrong, the economist is right, or the other way around, I should say. Any way you look at it, they're saying push these guys out of Iraq into a new front so that they fight the SAA, the Syrian army, the Arab army there, and give this problem, hand it over to the Russians. It's kicking, this is the basically problem down the street, kicking the can, as we say it up here. You know, it's unbelievable. This is again, I'll use the word again, diabolical. You're letting these people go into another country to cause havoc there. And this might be the whole plan. The Turks love this plan because what you can do now is you can justify going into northern Syria and causing trouble there, again, uninvited in a country. This could fall into play with what Hillary Clinton was talking about, a no-fly zone, the liberation of Raqqa, and somehow NATO playing a part in that, and this U.S.-led coalition. You know, it's just the shift that they're making. Is let's not annihilate ISIS. Let's not take them out in Mosul. Just push them over to Iraq. So the problem is, though, ISIS is fighting. They're fighting in Mosul. They're putting up resistance right now. So we're going to see if that's actually going to work, if that trick's going to pay off or not. There are reports, though, that we are hearing that some ISIS troops are already using this escape route out to head to Raqqa, which is their de facto capital in Syria. And who knows? Maybe the war will be pushed that way. We've seen cities in Iraq, sometimes ISIS fights, sometimes they just take off. We're not quite sure. But anyway, this plan is one of those plans that you really have to scratch your head to let these guys just move from A to B so you can fight them someplace else, and someplace that somebody else happens to be fighting a war.
It is interesting to see them openly advocating for the destabilization of Syria. If that's the strategy, Alex, I'm sure this story isn't going away anytime soon. RT correspondent Alex Mihailovich monitoring developments for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.